ps command, we can see the snapshot of the processes that are running in on the system. Whereas if you use top command, we can see the dynamic information of the processes that are running on the system. Okay, so it will refresh by default, it will refresh for every 3 seconds. Of course we can set it the default time also we can set. Okay, we can say. So a top command is used to see the process statuses information continuously until we get the process, we get the top command by pressing q. Okay, if you don't press that q, it will show continuously and it will refresh for every 3 seconds. Okay, so when you want to see running process on your Linux in real time, top command will be a reprocess. Not only running command, you can see which process is sleeping, which process is zombie process, which process is okay, ARPAN process. You can see everything. Okay, using top command. So it is very much useful tool. Okay, so along with the process, it also give the statistics about cpu information and also memory, both physical and swap. Okay, in memory is physical as well as swap, so combined it will cause virtual memory. So it will give the information about the memory, it will give the information about the cpu also. There is advantage of using top command. Okay, so if you want to see the information about this process using top command, simply use the command top command. Okay, there you will find some information like this. I will show you on the terminal, my terminal. Okay, just wait. Okay, go to the practice session, there only I will explain everything. Okay, so just type top. Okay, so look here. So what it was showing is top. Okay, so the first field, you're having 5 fields here. Okay, so the first field is a top, second one is tasks, third one is cpus. Why it is showing cpus means you can have more than one cpus. Okay, in real-time hardware servers will have more than one servers. Of course here I'm having it's a single cpu server. In it is a practice session, practice lab now. I'm using just a single server. Okay, next after that we're having fourth field as memory, fifth field as swap. After that we're having some table. Okay, I will explain each one by one. Okay, so look here, after every 3 seconds it is refreshing continuously. Okay, if you see that, you can observe that thing. Okay, so top command. So the first field here, the first line in the top command is okay, first line in the top command is it shows the current time. Okay, up 1 day, so shows how long the system has been up for. Okay, it will give the uptime. So if you use uptime command in linux, that will give since how long the system has been up for. Okay, next after that it will give 3 user, suppose some number, and after that it will give user, so how many users are logged in. Next it will give the load average in 3 values like this. Okay, that means the first value is the load average of the system in 1 minute, and the second value in 5 minutes, and the third value within 15 minutes. So that will give these statistics. That means the load average of the system in the last 1 minute, 5 minutes, and 15 minutes. So if you compare these values, you can observe how the load was handled by the cpu. Okay, you can understand that thing. Okay, let's look here. Here in the first field, top command, the first field is top. Okay, so this is the present time, and up since 6:32. Okay, the system has been up since 6:32, 6 hours 32 minutes. Next, two users are presently logged in this system. Okay, and the load average is 0.01 and 0.02, 0.00. So the first one is load average. Okay, load average within 1 minute, load average of last 5 minutes, load average of last 15 minutes. So that means if you observe this, 15 minutes to 5 minutes it was 0.02, so the load was somewhat increased. So 0.02 to zero point 0.1, that means this is the latest one, last 1 minute load average, that means it was somewhat reduced. Okay, so that you can observe the load average, that the load handled by the CPU, so that you can observe and monitor the processes. Okay, and the next second field is tasks. So tasks, how many tasks are handled. The first value will give the total number of tasks. You can observe it plainly here, giving total means total number of tasks handled by the system, out of which only one process is running, the remaining 182 are sleeping processes, and 0 processes are stopped, and 0 process is zombie process. I will tell you what is zombie process, what is. Okay, so the second line shows the number of current processes. Okay, so what is a running process means, the process is running, that is called running process. Sleeping process. Okay, sleeping process means the process which is in sleeping state, that means even that is not running. Okay, if you invoke the process it will run. Okay, it is just sleeping. Next, waiting process. Waiting, of course, in that the field was not given. Okay, waiting process means the process which is in waiting, that is ready to run. Okay, it is under waiting process. Stopping process means the process that was stopped. Arpan process means the process is running without parent process. Okay, that was indicated using O. I will show you everything, don't worry. Zombie process means the process which is running without child process. I will again give the clarity on those. Okay, that's about the second field. So the second field in the top command is the task. It gives the information about the tasks handled by the system. So first field is total number of processes, total number of tasks handled. Second field is how many of them are running processes, how many of them. The third field is how many of them are sleeping. The fourth one is how many of them are stopped, and fifth one is zombie process. Okay, I will again give you the clarity on those zombie, stopped, and everything. Next, the third field is CPUs. Okay, so here you are having 8 parameters are there in CPUs field: US, SY, NI, ID, WA, HI, SI, and ST. There are 8 of, okay, 8 parameters with some percentage numbers. Okay, the first one is US. Okay, US means user process. Okay, so the first one is US means percentage of US, that's given in percentages. So that is nothing but the amount of time the CPU spends on executing processes for people in user space. Okay, how much time it is spending, okay, to execute the process for the users. Okay, uh, you get it out that why everyone is a user, why you need to mention this is separately. Okay, the second will give you the answer for that one. SY, the second parameter is SY is system processes. So that is the amount spent on running system using kernel space process. So that means the processor user space and kernel space. Kernel space means that the processes are handled by the kernel, that is system. Okay. User space means the processes you handled by the user space, in user space. Okay. That means kernel space means, suppose handling in the background, looking after the IO devices, checking the IO devices, configuring, all those things comes under kernel space. User process means just like mail server handling, configuring mail servers. Okay, like that. Those comes under user space. Okay, handled by the space, the process handled by kernel comes under kernel space. The processes executing for the users comes under user space. Okay, that is second parameter. So third parameter is ni. Ni is amount of time spent on executing processes with manually set nice value. That means, in previous session you have seen that nice. Okay, and what is a nice value? So if you want to prioritize your process, you can change its nice value by using renice command. If it is a running process, if it is before starting a process, you can use nice command. You can set that priority. Okay, so if some priority was set some nice value. Okay, then this field ni slash percentage ni will give that one. So here I haven't set any nice value for any process, so it is 0 0. Okay, so suppose if it is because the system will handled by multi users now. So if some user set some nice values for some process, then it will give the statistics about that nice process, how much percentage of cpu that the nice process was taken. So here no nice value set for any process, that's why it is 0. If I set some nice process, some nice value to some process, then it will be some 0, so that you can understand. If some user is user or some user set some nice value to some process, you will understand, you will get the information here. Okay, so it is very much useful. If any user change the nice process, nice value of a process, if it is taking much value, then immediately we'll notice that. Okay, if it's taking much value of cpu, then we can get information. If you see the top command there, if you see the percentage of ni, you will observe that. So and in here in this table you will get the information about that, so that you can manage the thing. If it is necessary, you will leave it. If it is not necessary, you can ask him to renice it. Okay, or you can do, if you are a system admin yourself. Okay, so that is the third parameter. Next, coming to the fourth parameter, it is id. If you look here, id, fourth parameter is id. Okay, so what is that id? Id means idle time, amount of cpu spends idle. Okay, how much amount of time the cpu is in idle state. Okay, so here if you look in my present, I'm not having that much number of processes. So my idle time of my cpu is 92 around. Of course it is keep on changing. Okay, it is refreshing. So that is the idle time. So that means if the idle time is more, that means the cpu is not utilized properly. That means you are having no load on that cpu. Of course, if you are having a less number of processes, if the process is not taking more cpu usage, much usage of cpu, then the idle time will be more. But in real time it will be lesser value, some medium value. Okay, here I haven't started all the processes. I'm not having more applications here, that's why it is more. Okay, so the next field, fifth field, is wa, percentage of w. What is that? Wa is weighting average, weight average. So what is that weight average? So the amount of time the cpu spends on spends waiting for IO to complete. Suppose if you want to read or write some data into the disks. Disk means hard drives, storage. Okay, so generally the CPU is faster compared to your hard drive. Okay, so if CPU gives some instruction to read the data, or if it wants to write some data into the disk, that is called IO operations, input output operations, reading or writing data into the disk, or taking writing the disk by CPU. Okay, so the CPU is faster, it gives the signals, and it will wait for until reading or writing the data into the disk or from the disk. Okay, so it will wait for that. That WA percentage of WA value will give the information about that waiting time. So waiting average will give the time. So if the WA percentage of W is more, that means what it will say, that reading writing operation is very much slower. So in real time, if you get the high value of WA weight average, then you must observe the things. Okay, the probable causes may be the process will be slow. Okay, the second chance is that the read write process may be slow. That means your hard disk type, you need to check the hard disk type. If it is some low class hard disk, then that will be slow. And sometimes if the hard disk may be corrupted, or it was some broken, then that percentage of WA will be very high. So you can troubleshoot like that. So this is very important in real time. If the hard disk was corrupted or damaged, then percentage of WA, that means weight average, will be high, so that you can troubleshoot it. Okay, next two are HI and SI. These two are hardware interrupts and software interrupts. Amount of time spent on servicing hardware interrupts, amount of time spent on serving software interrupts. So interrupts. Okay, hardware interrupts means the interrupts from the hardwares, like disks, input output devices. Okay, like that. Any resource group hardwares, any hardware that is giving interrupt comes under this HI, percentage of HI. Second one is software interrupts. Okay, software interrupts means the interrupts generated by the processes. Okay, processes are nothing but programs are nothing but these are softwares invoked by softwares now. So that comes under SI category. Okay, so here the hardware interrupts are 0% and software interrupts also 0%. Okay, so if the hardware interrupts are much more there, then it will impact the CPU, because hardware means it is a physical interrupt. Okay, it impacts CPU performance. So if the software interrupts is there, that impacts the kernel, because all the processes, softwares, all these are handled by your kernel. Okay, so software interrupts impact kernel, hardware interrupt impact CPU. Okay, please remember that. And the last field is steal time. Steal means robbing, stolen. Okay, like that. Okay, so what is meant by that steal time? Okay, so the amount of time lost due to running virtual machines, that is called steal time. So what is meant by this steal time? Running a virtual machine. So in my system, I'm having two VMs here. Okay, one and two VMs here. This is my first VM. Okay, so suppose I'm having because you are having virtual machines, even though it is virtual machines, but the CPU, the processes are handled by a physical CPU. The physical CPUs are shared by it is what is managed by your hypervisor. Here my hypervisor is VMware. It will handles, it will give virtual CPUs, but on the back end, that was physical CPU. Physical CPU has to perform everything. That means the physical CPU was shared by these VMs. Okay, suppose if I am working on these VMs, the other VM is also working on some processes. Okay, so here this ST will give how much how much amount of time was spent on other virtual machines. Okay, that means how much stealing, that means how much other virtual machines are stealing the time of cpu. Okay, cpu performance. Okay, that is indicated here. So if it is high means instead of the cpu was utilized by this virtual machine is lesser compared to other machines. Okay, suppose this is my second machine, it is not resumed. Suppose I resumed here. Now look here how it will impact. Okay, so if another virtual machine, if the process are taking much utilization of the cpu, then this steal time will be high. If on the other machine the processor not taking that much utilization of the cpu by your hypervisor, that was maintained by hypervisor, then that steal time will be low. Okay, here also I run some cpu or top command. Okay, so here of course the hypervisor, I am not running any processes in here, only one process is running, that's why the steal time is very zero, almost zero. Okay, so that we can handle. If your physical machine is having large number of virtual machine, if the steal time is more, then you can observe which vm is taking more cpu and which process on that vm is taking more cpu time, so that you can prioritize it, you can renize the process, you can handle that. Okay, that is the third field in the top command. Next, fourth one is memory. Memory is nothing but ram, physical memory. So here what it will give is the information is the total memory, total physical memory, how much it is. It is almost 1 kilobyte, sorry, 1 gigabyte, out of which how much it is used, out of which how much it is free, out of which how much it is buffered. Okay, next the fifth field is swap. Swap. Okay, swap. So how much the swap is, total swap is. Okay, how much it is used, how much it was free, how much it was cached. Okay, I will tell what is buffer cache later. Okay, it is not the context. Already memory, what is memory, what is swap. Of course here my swap is more than my ram, because to show you how to partition, how to create swap partition and swap file, I have increased that, I added more swap here. Of course not required in real time that much swap is. Okay, compared to your ram. Okay, it depends on the scenario. Already I have given that information about them. Okay, these are the 5 fields you need to know about each and everything in these 5 fields, then only you can handle the processes. Okay, using this top command you will came to know all these things. Next, after that you're having a small table here. So in that you're having the fields like this: pad, usr, user, pr, ni, vart, like that. So the first one is pid. Pid is process id. Next one is user, so which user is taking this process. Pr is priority, dynamic priority of your process, because the priority of the process changes maybe. Okay, based on the process, whether it is sleeping or running, the cpu will handle that thing. Okay, next one is nice value. So this value we can set. Okay, we can set using renice command. It is a running command, a running process now, then you can set it. Okay, here only in top command only you can set it. If you press r command here, it will ask pid to renice. So you, by observing here, we can observe the pid command. Okay, 1 2 3 like this. If I want to change the priority of 4029, then you will enter like that, and after that you can enter the nice value also. Okay, I am not doing that. Like that you can do if you want to change the running command. Okay, if you want to do that without using top command, you can use renice command. Okay, next field is after ni, the next field in the table is vart. That means virtual memory. What is a virtual memory is? Virtual memory is physical memory plus swap will be known as virtual memory. So each and every process, these are the processes na? Which process is taking how much virtual memory. So the first XOR is taking 197 MB, and the top command is taking this much amount of memory. Okay, like that it will give the information about the virtual memory, like that. uh, Next one is resident memory. After that, shared memory. Okay, next one is a status. Status means status of the process, whether it is sleeping, running, zombie process, arpan process. Okay, everything it will give. Okay, so status means here you can have here here S means the process is sleeping process. R means it is a running process. Of course, remaining there are some more options also there. Here that was not given. So okay, so if it was given like this R, if it is given R, that is running process. If it is given S, that is sleeping process. If it is Z, that is zombie process. In that field if the letter was like that. If it is T, then it is a stopped process. I told you what is it stopped process is. If it is D, that is uninterrupted process. Okay, again if you see here, if it is capital R, then it is high prioritized sleeping process. Okay, if it is an low priorities process. So in that field already you observed capital R, all are capital R's are there, high prioritized. Okay, next O means if the field is O, then it is ARPAN process. Okay, if the symbol is there, if it is plus symbol is there, then the process is running on the foreground. If it is foreground on the terminal, if it is some question mark like okay, then that is background process. That means the process is running in the background process. Background of your terminal, background on the terminal. Okay, of course here there are no such things, only S and R are there. Okay, here capital R also it is sleeping but high prioritized. Okay, next this thing is percentage of CPU. So each process consuming how much percentage of CPU was given here. Here you'll find the information about each all the process. If it is more, you need to monitor it. Okay, if you have single process taking more CPU utilization, then you must be aware of that, you must be careful about that. Okay, you can prioritize it, you can prioritize it by using renice command. Okay, you can reduce the priority of it if it is required. If it is not so, you can manage it. Next, percentage of memory, how much percentage of memory taken by that process. Okay, and time is in this okay, time plus this field gives the time, how much time there the process are running, since how much time. Okay, next one is command or process. XOR process, top process. Look here, even top process is also listed, it is also a process now in it, everything. Okay, like that. So here my top command is running continuously, it is refreshing. Hmm? Refreshing continuously. Of course here I have given some command, that's why it is stopped refreshing. Okay, now look here, it is continuously refreshing. If you can manage all these things using top command by using some commands. So if you press H, okay, so you will get all those list here. Okay, so if you use Z, that will change the color mappings. If you use B, that will disable enable. Okay, so look here, Z command. If I use Z command, it is giving, it is in colors. So look here, all the sleeping process are in red color, only running process is in black color. Look here, and the numbers are in like this. Okay, it is giving some color display. Okay, again I press Z, it will come to normal place. If I use B, look here, B, it is in black and white only, but it is identify the running process with that black. Okay, and if I again press B, it is coming to normal position. If I again press B, the running process the running process is identified by that black. Okay, background is black. Okay, remaining sleeping process in yes. Okay, like that it will give the color display, black and white as well as color. Okay, again if you want to know about more, okay, if you want to the toggle the summaries, L, if you press L, that will toggle. Look here, if you look here, load average, it is showing load average now. If I press L, that doesn't appear top. Okay, that is off. If I again press L, again top is looking here, load average is looking, you can look load average like that. Okay, like that you're having a lot of options. Do some work with this. If you use T, that will show CPU. Again if you press C, you press T, then that don't show CPU, toggles between the values. Okay, if you press M, that toggles the memory values. Okay, you can see only with memory, without memory, like that. Okay, next if I press 1, it will separate all the CPUs. I will show you. Of course, look here, closely observe this CPUs. Here it is, okay, the option is CPUs, means you can have more number of CPUs. Of course, here I'm having only one CPU, but in real time you can have more number of CPUs on a server. Okay, that will give good performance, like 8 CPUs, 4 CPUs, 32 CPUs, like that. Okay, so if you want to see, here the load average is for all the CPUs, it was giving all the CPUs. Okay, generally if it is near to 1 means, that means it is consuming almost all CPU performance. Okay, so it is less means, that means it is not taking that much of CPU. Okay, CPU time, CPU process, CPUs, the load is on the load, on the CPU the load is lesser. Okay, so that means load average means you are having multiple number of CPUs, that's why it is giving average. So in real time that will work like that. You can observe, you can, by observing load average you can find that. So here only you are having multiple number of CPUs, then you want to see individual CPUs information about, then press 1. Look here, of course I am having only one CPU, it is giving CPU 0. If you are having 3 CPUs, 4 CPUs, then it will give like CPU 0, CPU 1, CPU 2, CPU 3, everything like this. For each and individual CPUs, that will give the information. You will get 3 more fields here, CPU 0, CPU 1, CPU 0 only here. Yeah, because I am having only one CPU now, that's why it is giving only one CPU. Okay, so how to get that information? Just press 1. Again if you press 1, it is give information about all the CPUs like this. If again I press 1, it will give individual CPUs, so that in real time troubleshooting is easy. So which CPUs on the load is more, you can find out like that. And again you can, you will observe each one by one of these 8 parameters, which one is taking more load, like that you can troubleshoot it, you can reduce the load, you can manage the CPU utilization. Okay, like that you can troubleshoot it. Next one, one is over. Next I, okay, this is some more revit fields. If you want to change the sort the order of the fields, then you can use 0. That means here in this you're having PID is first, USR is second, PR is third. You can change these orders. Okay, so practice it, I'm not giving a, okay, like that you're having a lot of fields here. Okay, okay, like that suppose if you want to organize the priority of a particular process, you can use R here. If you give, already I have shown that, I think, R. If I use R, look here on the top of it, so press R here, so it is asking PID to organize. So out of these processes, if you want to change the priority of a particular process, you need to give the PID. So how you will get the PID? Here only you will get the PID. Okay, here you are having PID for each every in process. Suppose migration, this one, the process ID is this 3. Okay, like that you will find the PID. So dynamically you can give here. Okay, so dynamically you can give the priority here. If you enter that one, it will ask the priority nice value, there you can enter the nice value, like that you can change it. Okay, Again, if you use K, you can kill a process also. Okay, if I use option K, it will ask which process you want to kill. Again, it will ask PID to kill. So again, if you give PID of something of these processes, it will kill. Suppose I'm giving 4029. Sorry, something with my keyboard. Okay, 4029. So what is the process ID? 4029. The process of that PID is top command. So enter. I'm killing that top command. Right now I'm running top command now. I'm killing that one with signal. I guess it is asking signal. In previous class, I have given information about the signal. There are almost 64 signals. So I will give 9. It will terminate it. I'm sorry. It was already top command was killed. Of course, it is some overwriting. Again, if I use top, okay. Again, it is running. So if you want to exit top command, you need to give quit. But if I kill here, automatically it was killed. Okay, like that you can manage how to kill, how to renice, how to show, how to see the CPU utilization, memory utilization, swap, everything you can handle using a single command, that is top command. Okay, this about a top command. Next, there is some more information about top command. I will give you that one by one. Okay, so already all these things I told you. Yes, shared memory, all this. Okay, it was over. Okay, these options are also I have given information about all these options. So if you want to see that, you can use H command whether after executing top command. Okay, so I skipped two topics, that is ARPAN process. What is meant by ARPAN process? The name itself indicate ARPAN. What is meant by ARPAN? The one without parents. Here also, a process will start another process, that is called parent process. The started process is known as child process. If the child process is without parent process, that means without means after starting ARPAN process, if the parent process was killed, okay, or it doesn't know which parent process it is, that is called ARPAN process. Okay, the child process running at that time and its parent was killed, then that is called ARPAN process. Next, what is zombie? Zombie or defunct, both are same. Zombie, some character in Hollywood. Okay, zombie process. What is meant by zombie process? So when we start a parent process, it starts some child process. After starting the child process, after some time, if the child process was died because of not knowing parent process, then those parent processes are called zombie processes. Okay, that means the parent processes without running child process. Of course, in brief, these are the zombie processes are the, in other words, if these are the zombie processes are the processes that is running without knowing the information about the child process. So why they don't know the child process means the child process was died, it was killed, but the process, it was not updated in the process table. Okay, even though when the kernel will know to whether the process was died or not, if it was entered in the process table. So here a parent process was started, a child process, the child process was died after some time, but the parent process will not know about that child process was died. Why? It was not entered in the process table, it is waiting. So suppose it was waiting, it takes some time to enter into that table, process table. Okay, meanwhile it is called zombie process. Okay, those are called zombie and defunct processes. Okay, so these two processes are important, zombie process or defunct process and ARPAN process. Okay, so these are the different processes that are handled in Linux. So what are those? Running process, stopping process, sorry, sleeping process, waiting process, stopping process, ARPAN process, and zombie process. Do some homework on those. Okay, next, that's about top command. Of course, we are having a lot to know about top command. I have given some brief information about the top command. Some more options with the top command is here. I have entered top command, top, just top. So that means it is taking the processes of all the users. Of course, here I was logged in as a root user only, so it is giving all the users. Suppose if I was logged in as some user, Yogi, it is also take some. Look here, Yogi user is also taking some process. Okay, so if I enter top, by default it will give the information about all the users, root user as well as normal user. Okay, but I want to know the process information about a particular user. Just I want to know about Yogi. Then what is the command, how to use that? There is a option hyphen u, top hyphen u, and Yogi. So you will find that using man command. Okay, so in man command you will get all the options of the top command. Okay, look here, just top hyphen u Yogi. So Yogi user, for Yogi user it is giving information about only Yogi user. Okay, so just quit. Next, in the same way you're having some more options. You can find it using man command or help command. If I use top hyphen I, so it will, of course here I'm not having any zombie process.